welcome to Food Around the World, the series where I'm making food from places I've visited. And this series is going to be very long since I've visited a lot of countries. And today we'll be doing Australia. I'll be making a dessert that's highly contested between Australia and New Zealand, the Pavlova. Its place of origin is debated, but it is the national dessert of Australia, so sorry New Zealanders, I'm giving this dessert to the Australians for now. I do know, however, that it was originally made for a Russian ballerina that was on tour in Australia and New Zealand in the beginning of the 1900s. So step one of making the pavlova is to separate the whites and the yolks of 5 eggs. So any yolk that gets into your whites may ruin this dessert. It won't allow your meringue to form. My general tip for making a pavlova is that you separate the whites and the yolks egg by egg. That is, you separate one egg's whites into this little bowl and put it into your big bowl. And this makes it so that if any yolk gets in there and you have to get rid of the batch, it'll only be 1 egg, as opposed to the entire batch. Once you're done separating your egg whites and yolks, now that you've put your egg whites in a big bowl, whisk them for 5 minutes. You can also do it by hand, but that takes a while and is difficult, so I'm using my boy Jeremy instead. Add a cup of sugar as you're whisking the whites, and it has to be in at least 2 batches. At this point, you can also add a bit of vanilla. Add half a teaspoon of cornstarch and half a teaspoon of cream of tartar by the end of the whipping. And this isn't mandatory, but it does help make your meringue a bit more stable. Wow, this is so stiff. I could eat that for infinity. Once your uncooked meringue is ready, call down your older brother so that he can lick the whisk. If you're making a traditional big pavlova, like I am, you're gonna want to shape your cream in a big circle and use a generous amount of it. And make a nest in the middle for your whipped cream and your berries. Just keep piling this stuff on and then shape it. And by the way, if I were to describe the nation of Australia with one word, it would be animals. They're the craziest, coolest, cutest animals there. And the funniest part is that they're a common occurrence. The people there are completely used to them and are unfazed. Like, instead of squirrels, you have koalas. Instead of deer, which they also probably have, you have kangaroos. And kangaroo crossings are also a common occurrence, in which you have to drive extra carefully to not get your car jumped. Now that your pavlova, or egg white cream, is shaped into this beautiful nest, a ginormous nest, it is done and it's ready for baking. And talking about nests and birds, I actually have a video of 5-year-old me feeding cockatoos pizza. So the trick of baking pavlova is when you put it in the oven, you set the oven to high heat. And for a couple minutes, and only a couple minutes, you bake it. And then you drastically lower it to a much lower temperature. And in Fahrenheit, it's about 350 at the start, and then 200. As your pavlova is baking, you can practice cello. So the part that gives the pavlova a lot of its flavor is the berries. So I have a couple strawberries, some blueberries, and some blackberries and raspberries, and cherries. And we need to do a bit of prep with the strawberries. So cut them up in thin strips so that the pavlova looks good. Now that my pavlova has been in the oven for 2 hours, you need to let it cool in the oven. And you'll know if it's ready when it's pretty hard on the surface, but not brown. So the final bit of prep we need to do is the whipped cream and just dressing the pavlova with the berries. So I'll add a cup of whipped cream and half a cup of sugar. Now look at this beautiful pavlova. It's not too cracked, but it has cracks. It's not too golden, but it has gold. It's perfection. Now that I've whipped my cream, I'm gonna add it on. I'm not gonna press down too hard. I'm not gonna completely slather it. I'm just gonna fill this nest with the cream I whipped. And by the way, why it's orange is that I added chunks of passion fruit into it, and that'll just make it a bit more sour and fruity. This is not mandatory, by the way. So now, our goal is to pile on these berries. Add a lot of them. Like this. No, even more. Add some strawberries. Extra strawberries. A lot of strawberries. I love strawberries. And on top, because I love blueberries, I'm adding blueberries. And a lot of blueberries. Even more blueberries. And this is already a masterpiece. It's like a Picasso painting. It's beautiful. And if you want to be French bakery, fancy level, add on some powdered sugar to coat your berries. Like tiny bits of snow. Yep, it's ready. And this is a close-up. I'm gonna give it a try. This is my favorite dessert now. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. It's that good. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Давай.
Что?
Ну, еще одно сделай, на всякий случай. Можешь рассказать про Animals.
Now this pavlova is perfection. This is art. It's perfection. This is just perfection. It's beautiful. See this texture? It's perfection.